Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we're talking Roku stock, ticker symbol ROKU. As a disclaimer, this is not investment advice. This is just a research video that I put together meant to be educational as well as entertaining. We're going to take a look at a few different news clippings and articles surrounding the company as of recently, and then we're going to jump into the charts. Thank you for your time. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Please enjoy.
Moffett cuts Roku to sell.
Oh my God!
Target
I went back to Michael immediately.
You know what they do with Nathan? The report says the estimates are too damn high, is what he writes. We might get a 52-week low on Roku today.
They call Nathanson the assassin. This was an amazing piece, basically saying we're all paying too much for Roku. Don't we realize there's a rapid deceleration? I read this and I said to myself, every time I look at Roku, I want to sell it.
Yeah. You know, there's still questions about the aggregators and who really is going to succeed in aggregating all the streaming services effectively and what that's going to look like. Obviously, Roku's platform has been a very powerful one. They've done a great job in terms of getting paid, basically.
But the deceleration, David, that he outlines, the deceleration that Nathanson outlines is pretty severe.
Real quick, let's jump into this article from CNBC. Roku stock pops on multi-year agreement with Google to keep YouTube on streaming platform. This article came out and published on Wednesday, December 8th, 2021. I'm not going to go through the entire article, but I just want to highlight some key points that Roku has reached a multi-year agreement with Google to keep YouTube and YouTube TV on its streaming platform. The financial terms of the deals weren't disclosed. Google had previously threatened to pull YouTube and YouTube TV from Roku on December 9th. So I think that it is a safe it's safe to assess that if YouTube or Google threatens to pull out of your streaming service, it's best to play ball with them since they are the highly sought after in streaming and viewership. So the stock closed up 18% on Wednesday. And it reached this agreement, and I think on that news, it kind of just decided to pop. The deal will allow 56.4 million active Roku accounts to continue to watch YouTube and YouTube TV. So, again, once it threatened to pull out and then they started to play ball with them, they came out with this article and they decided to say that, in quote, "We're happy to share that we've reached a deal with Roku to continue distributing the YouTube and YouTube TV apps on Roku devices." And all this means is that Roku customers will continue to have access to YouTube and their YouTube TV app. And so I think just with saying that, let's just say for whatever reason that Roku is like, no, we don't want to do a deal. We don't want our customers to have YouTube. A lot of people would just say, okay, well then I'm going to quit my Roku account, or I'm going to stop using Roku. That's just kind of how I see it. Again, this is just my opinion, and I think that such competitors such as Amazon, Fire TV, and Apple TV, they carry YouTube because they are aware that YouTube is where it's at. I don't watch TV anymore. I know a few of my family members and friends still do every once in a while, of course, but I mean, I'm on YouTube nonstop, and that's just where it's at with me. And for the majority of people, I think that's where they are too. So this article just lends itself to say that Roku is another player in the streaming services that I think will continue to see growth as long as they have, viewership and they continue to have the types of things that people want, which is YouTube. So let's move on. Okay, so we are here on this article from the Motley Fool, 3 reasons to buy Roku stock right now. This article came out today, December 10th, earlier this morning. Now, if you just look here, you know that the stock price is down from Roku. The key points of this article, I'm not going to go through the entire thing, but Roku's original content ambitions are off to a good start. As the leading streaming provider, it can hold its own in a dispute. Roku's international growth is just getting started. So the article is just going over some of the key attributes that Roku has, right? They have 56 million active accounts. They grow 51% in the third quarter, suggests the stock should be a no-brainer, which just, if you see something running up really, really high, if you see a stock price taking off, That's, it could be one of two things. That can be a positive, that if you're a holder, okay, your shares are doing well. And it could be a negative, that, well, it's a little too expensive to buy, so you'll wait for it to come down. Well, what do you know? The stock is coming down. And I think a little bit of, buy the rumor, sell the news type of thing happened here. As I have previously mentioned, some of the notes about, its spat with Google, its partnerships with some of the bigger streaming companies and some of the bigger networks. It just adds to Roku's defense that they are a big contender in the streaming services. The world is Roku's next big market, which the Motley Fool highlights here that Roku announced this week that it was setting up to shop in Amsterdam, bringing the number of international offices to 4. The Netherlands joins Denmark, Ukraine, and the United Kingdom on Roku's list of foreign locales. This highlights Roku's ongoing push beyond its unrivaled success in North America. So it is one of the smarter options as far as if you're going to look at a company and say, well, what are people doing? Well, a lot of eyes are on TVs, they're on streaming services, they're on computers, and it's just a matter of time until you run into someone or you yourself purchase a device that has a Roku, or that you just are attached to the brand in itself. So let's move on, and we're going to jump into a few other things that I wanted to highlight. But for the most part, I think that it's just safe to say that when stock prices come down, that's a good time to buy. Obviously, this is not investment advice. This is just an opinion that there is more to Roku in the future. It hasn't even peaked yet. It's just now, getting its relationships with other streaming partners and content creators down. So that means that in the future, this type of company will continue to expand, which this article highlights. And I'll leave it in the description below. So let's continue. Okay, so before we jump into the charts, let's take a look here at this article from Seeking Alpha. Needham cuts Roku target, but reiterates 2022 bullishness. This article came out earlier today, December 10th, 2021. And I'm not going to go through the entire article, of course, but Roku is up 1.3% out of the market open today, following the broader market higher this morning, though the move also comes alongside some long-term positivity from Needham. Needham's Lauren Martin reiterated a buy rating and reinforced a positive fundamental outlook for Roku in 2022 and rolled out 2023 estimates for the first time. Though she's cut back heavily on the price target due to macro issues, Roku's had a rough year, but so have a lot of the streaming and ad tech stocks under coverage. Needham notes, following an average of 30% in 2021, and Roku has slipped 26%. That industry pressure is blamed on chip shortages hitting auto advertising, supply chain shortages, worries over rising interest rates, and some pandemic caution that hit advertising for movies and travel. That multiple compression leads to firm to slash its price target on Roku to $340 from $550. That still implies 43% upside from current pricing. Despite that, it's bullish on Roku in 2022, with the most compelling upside value found in the direct relationship with consumers and the Apple-like gatekeeper status that confers on Roku. So just to wrap it up, that there have been some negative things occurring with streaming services and ad tech companies such as Roku, but that just, look, the price target was from $550. Okay, let's be real. If it's to be the next Google, and Google's trading north of $1,000 and approaching, $2,000, then why can't another player reach that? But at least, from $550 cut down to $340. Okay, fine. So with that being said, if you have analysts and price targets being matched 43% upside, then that just, it's a no-brainer that you kind of see this as, a buying opportunity perhaps, and you kind of see long-term, if you are thinking about investing in a company such as Roku, then the upside is compelling and there should be plenty of room to run. So that's from Needham, which cuts their target again, but they reiterate a 2022 and beyond bullishness. So let's jump into the chart. We are on my trading view, taking a look at Roku, and this is what I come to find out as far as I rarely do my TradingView videos intraday, but this is an intraday video, so let's see where it's at. It's currently trading at 228.29. It is currently down from its earnings period, which happened in November, and it was a surprise. So it beat estimates, but of course, you know, the stock took a little bit of a tumble. And as we can kind of look back, and it was trading, well above 450. It was, kind of curious as to touching maybe, a 500 spot. But where it's currently trading at, I think it is safe to say that if you are taking a bullish sentiment to it, you can perhaps see that. Let's make it it was currently trading at, back in October, it was trading north of $330. It was trading around $347. Need to put a price target around that area. So let's see. That I'm not gonna go too crazy with it, but I think that if you can say, if it can test that level, cool. But I recommend that not to get too crazy. Again, this isn't investment advice. This is just me thinking that if it trades around here, the 250 to 200 area, these are great opportunities for it. At least if you wanted to maybe pick a bottom. If it continues to slide and it trades, really south, and it continues to plummet, perhaps we can see a former level of, let me jump out of here, a former level of support right around this, 260 area. And if that level becomes tested, then that can become perhaps maybe a newer set of parameters for us to bounce off of. Maybe it can test that limit. But for whatever reason, if you decide that you think that this stock is just going to be trading, south for a while, then I see that there's plenty of opportunity for you to maybe open a position somewhere around here, because I do believe that it's a matter of time for it to test that, that 330 price target. That's just the way things happen. Again, this isn't investment advice. This is just something that I'm seeing, that I'm noticing, that whenever an analyst puts out a price target, it tends to get there relatively, it's not going to take forever to reach it. And it's just a matter of time for it to turn that into a level of support, and then off we go. And it is a technology company that is part of streaming. It's part of viewership. So a lot of people have become used to staying indoors, been used to watching a lot of movies, watching a lot of content, and that's where a lot of the money goes, and it is what it is. And a lot of people are just kind of staying indoors these days. So I do like Roku as a company, and me personally, I do not have any shares of Roku, but if I were inclined to open up a position, I would kind of wait a little while, maybe a couple of weeks, to see where it trades. But the sooner that it gets close to that 300, it's just a matter of time before it pops at 350, and then here we go. So that's what I got. All right, I want to thank you for your time. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. It really does help people find my channel, helps people find my content, and allows me to keep making these videos. If there's another company, IPO, ETF, cryptocurrency that you would like for me to research, just drop it in the comment section below, and I will do my best to get to it as soon as possible. So, until next time, y'all take care. Later.